Okay, my name is Dave Humphreys. I currently chair the Vikings board. This is our annual general meeting. Excuse me if I keep breaking in and out. I'm in the UK today. Can you just put up the agenda, please, Lee?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll just go through the agenda. We'll have the roll call of directors and officers. Opening and welcome, that's me. Then Lee Dunne, our ED, will review the year and review the preparation for year 2. We're going to elect the 2025-26 board of directors, and then we'll show the club's financial state with Andrew. Lee will also talk about the Vikings Day celebration coming up soon, and then we'll adjourn later. So, roll call of directors and officers. This is me, currently Dave Humphreys. We have Vice Chair, currently Steve Brotherton. Andrew Noble is our Treasurer. Our Secretary is Denise Ramsey. Directors Abe Wallen, Rena McDermott, and Mark Powell. That would be over to you, Lee.
Thanks, Dave. If you have been with us over the past year, hopefully you are, number one, familiar with my voice. Number two, familiar with our constant reference on why we do what we do and what guides us. And that is our vision and our mission here. So if you are new to the club, welcome. Our vision here is that the club is going to shape a brighter future for youth sports. We are, of course, a soccer club. I have big dreams for us to become a sports club. However, our mission is dedicated to fostering a vibrant, inclusive, and nurturing community. We had a lot of feedback through tryouts around the positivity of the holistic development that we focus on, the long-term development of our players, and then also the work that we're doing within our teams, and of course our parents and the guiding light that our parents are within the club. When I joined in year 1, it's been very much an evaluation of the club, of operations, of the teams and performances and our coaches, and essentially everything that happens. So I said, if you've been in the club, you've been familiar with the town halls where we're providing systematic updates on what we're doing, where we are going, what we are trying to achieve right now, what's coming down the pipeworks and the run up to tryouts, everything that we were working towards. We've had surveys. We had 2 surveys through a company called Satori that has given us really valuable insight into how our membership feels about certain things within the club, how they feel about their coach, how they feel about their team, how they feel about the general experience as a Viking soccer player. And then, of course, reviews where we're asking for family feedback, whether that's informally or by allowing contact through things like town halls and on the field. That has enabled us to start to develop what our programming looks like. We introduced the Future Vikings this last year. The idea, again, is just to introduce players to who the Vikings are, what the Vikings are trying to do, the vision and mission that we live by. Part of the feedback that we've received and the request has been for consistent training, and we'll kind of touch on what year 2 is looking like there as we changed up our menu, if you like, for the coming year. And then the academy, talking about what that means for the future of the club and recognizing that an academy structure has been our best way, at least for now, of introducing new players to our program and being able to have a greater impact on our players. Underneath that, we had our board committees and strategic support. So we're really exploring our impact in the community, what that means for us from a fundraising perspective. And we recognize that cost of playing youth sports is expensive, and we're going to do everything we can to help offset those costs. And then looking at property, and especially looking for a space that we can call our own. Now, I don't expect you to be aware of an open field that the Vikings might be able to purchase in San Francisco. However, we are looking at warehouse space for indoor training space and indoor office space that we can call our own and be able to build on our vision and mission and provide that consistent access. So now as we turn this corner beyond tryouts into year 2, we have continued upgrades to operations and processes. And these are things that you don't really see that are happening behind the scenes. but taking the club forward in our processes, being fully compliant within the city, within the state, within the requirements of being a non-profit. Not that we're not in compliance, but these compliance things change all of the time. So recruiting partners that are really helping us to provide the best thing for our coaches, provide the best environment that we can, and also just being as completely set up as possible for us to be really aggressive as we move into years 3, 4, and 5. We have year-round soccer beginning. So June 4, we start at San Francisco State where we held our tryouts. We were able to secure that through the end of August. We're looking for consistency and excellence for player development. And in that environment, all of our players are invited to come out, whether they're recreational or club players. They'll have a training session once or twice a week with our coaches. They'll experience working with different players. They'll experience working with different coaches. They'll experience working through different aspects of the game as a means of addressing the demand of the players wanting more and wanting to be able to train more, wanting to get ready for this coming season. We know that it's really important that as we do compete, we want our players to represent who the Vikings are. We've had a lot of success with our older players, and now we're starting to turn that focus to our younger players to continue that pathway. Talk about inverting the pyramid. We have a lot of older teams in the club, and our focus for this tryout window was to redevelop the younger side of the club and add some depth throughout the club. So the investment in the academy and the group training that we have going on there and bringing our players in and just giving them a slightly different experience with play dates through NorCal Premier and then exposing them into different levels of competition and different opportunities to play. All of this is aimed at having our players experience over 100 events throughout the year. And this also goes all the way up through the club. So offering more for our players to be able to get more touches on the ball, to have more exposure to different coaches, different players, and then ultimately the competition within the game that they want to be a part of. The feedback that we received said, our player loves to play soccer. They are looking for more. They are looking for consistency. And that's what we've introduced for this coming year. The girls' side of the club is something that we are working on building also. It's something that we would like to see more of. The boys' side is very strong. The girls' side is not so strong. And so some investment into community program that you'll see as a spin on our Future Vikings program, getting involved more with more female coaches, and then, of course, impacting the girls' side of the game more significantly too. Recognize that we could become a boys' club, but we don't think we're quite ready for that yet. And so our focus is to develop that side of the club also. We talk a lot about identity. Who are the Vikings? Again, we have the vision and mission that we are trying to live by and that we carry out into everything we do, from our coaching education to our team formation. However, within that is what a team identity is. And our surveys told us that everybody within a team identifies strongly with that team. So when they are a Viking soccer player, if they have a really positive team experience, they think really positive of the Vikings, unsurprisingly. If they have a negative experience or they think they want more, or something is just not quite right there for whatever reason, the team has a losing season, et cetera, well, then they have a negative experience of the Vikings as a whole, as a soccer club. And we also know that the coach is a significant part of that. So our investment goes into the education and the guidance for our coaches through year 2. And then we'll see what that looks like into year 3, 4, and 5 as we continue the strategic development of the club. So that's what you're seeing for coming with us for year 2. Libby, I'm going to turn over to you as we move into our election of directors. And if I can,
Okay.
there you go.
Well, as Lee alluded to, we are a nonprofit corporation run by an annually elected volunteer board. All our directors are volunteer and independent. Our outgoing board members set the slate as 5, and our voting members are you for the registered team players over 18, parents or guardians of players under 18 who are on a Viking team, coaches, and board officers. So can we see the slate, Lee? So here's our board slate. Dave Humphreys, Denise Ramsey, Eric Mersch, Abe Wallen, Martha Mahoney. And so we're looking for an endorsement from the members to elect this slate for the coming year. I think the easiest way is that since we have a quorum of participants, that if anyone is against this quorum, can you just chat to me in your chat function? Or put a thumbs down emoji, and I'll just give a minute here for everyone to reflect, and then we can move forward. So if you do not dissent at this slate, then it's assumed that you are approving the slate, just to keep it simple.
And therefore no action required, correct, Libby?
Correct. I am just trying to verify a few members that are here with first name only. So our voting members we do need to tie them to a player. So I've messaged a few of you in the chat to identify which player you're associated with. But since we have over 72 participants, I can say that we have the quorum.
Quorum is 40.
And it looks like the endorsement is unanimous, so we can proceed.
Thank you very much, Libby. And since my hiring with the club, I've worked with these 4 departing members who would like to say thank you to. Their guidance, their insights, their participation within the club from my hiring and previously also to being able to support this club behind the scenes. I think that a lot of our board members or board members in general can be underappreciated and it can be taxing at times. So my thanks to these 4 for their participation in the guidance for me and for the club, and then also their participation in our committees and overall club development. So Steve, Andrew, Mark, Raina, thank you. Thank you very much. Raina, I did you this service there. I put Raina. I'm very sorry for that. But thank you guys very, very much. Andrew, let's move over to you. I need to.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Great. All right. Well, thank you. I could just give a short update on where we are in terms of finances. The good news is that while the club, has challenges, we have, a good financial situation or status to move forward here. The club is a nonprofit organization. It has been very conservatively managed. Try to produce a small surplus each year. And so where we are now at coming up at the end of the fiscal year for this year, which is June 30th, gross revenue over the year has been just a little over $1,505,000. And that is more or less consistent with the last about 4 years or so. Net income that is no actual income. It's a nonprofit, but this is what would get kind of retained in our capital fund. It's 47,000 and change, but it's going to end up being less. Most of the revenues come in, but there will be some year-end expenses here. But at the end of the day, I think we're looking okay in terms of running this year. Now, on the next slide here, so the cash on hand, 511,000, which is pretty good. And then the surplus that we've started doing a few years ago is to deposit surplus into a CD account once we started earning actual interest on that. We currently have one account at 731,000. We used to have 2, but one closed that we were with Bank of America, and I think there's opportunities for more interest elsewhere. So we're going to roll some of that 500,000 into another CD. So this is a sort of like a general capital fund. There's not tethered to any particular expense, but if we do see an opportunity like obtaining a field or we just need to make some changes to the Vikings program, but need to just run a deficit for a bit, we can do that. We've got some good opportunities here. And then the last, just for interest, I wanted to include some information about what drives the revenue here. Mostly select teams, but we also get a real healthy showing from summer camps And then certainly micro soccer is a good revenue driver and one of our real important missions here, aside from fielding the select teams. So it's a good reminder that that's where a good chunk of the revenue and budget come from. And that's what I have.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
To Vikings Day. Former Mayor Breed designated June 4th annually as the San Francisco Vikings Day due to the history of the club. If you are unaware, if you see on our badge, 1922 is when Vikings started. Doesn't mean that we had summer camps and teams and everything else going on at that time, but the club has evolved, and in recognition of the work that the Vikings has done and what it has done for soccer within the community, and even just from an alumni perspective of players that have left the club or coaches that have left the club and then gone on to other clubs within the city and gone on to other ways of developing the game outside of the city also, that you have this amazing Vikings Day celebration coming up. So part of this celebration that we'll be getting out to you a little bit more with a little bit more information is that it will be driving our scholarship fund. So we'll be doing some fundraising around the day. The idea, of course, that we have our celebration, we'll have all sorts of things like walking soccer going on. We'll have some events for our younger players to come out and kick around with us and just make it a real good family day out. So this is in the schedule for the teams for the coming year. It'll be Sunday, June 1st. We play at Beach Chalet from 3 till 5. And then we have a Hall of Fame Awards and Coach of Year Award coming up also. So during that event, that'll be at Park Chalet after. That will be a ticket basis. But that will be going out. So the survey for Coach of the Year will be going to all of our members. We'll be asking you for your input on your coach, and then we'll be announcing who our Coach of the Year is during that event too. And then we also have 2 Hall of Fame inductees that we'll be introducing at that event also. Here's our little schedule of events so you can just see it and be aware of it. We walking soccer, I heard earlier that there were some injuries in walking soccer previously, so we'll be asking people to vigorously warm up and be ready for this. However, some youth games prior to that, and then of course our celebration afterwards. Now, maybe you want some more. So what about Saturday? We are in the works of organizing a Champions League final watch party at Steins on Geary. We're looking at working with them and adding some sort of a cover fee that would then provide a kickback to us. So when we get more specific information on that, we will share that with you. But again, if you're going to watch the game, you want to bring out your soccer players and come and hang out with us and watch the game, our plan is to be there. We will update this and get this into everybody's schedule too. But again, this is another kind of way of us trying to fundraise for the club, trying to just develop the community around it. Since we don't have our own indoor space yet, we have to use somewhere like Steins to help us out. So that will be, and if you have a connection for somebody else too, we again in talks with these guys, but we are looking for as much support as we can get around something like this. And the Champions League final will be a great way to kick off our Vikings Day celebration weekend. So just watch the space for this. And of course, families invited. Summer camp. Summer camp is a really big driver, of course, as you saw from Andrew's report there. It's wonderful in revenue for us, but it's also the best part of summer. If you've seen the highlight reel that we have from our summer camp last year in the interview with camp director Toby, you'll hear the impact it's had. The camp has been around for a long time. Many kids come through the camp for all 5 or 6 weeks, and then others have come in as campers, and then now coaches. They come in and they do volunteering, and then they can become full-time coaches within the camp, within the club. So there is a real nice pathway of players that have come and spent their summer days with us playing, turning into coaches and moving on through the game too. And all part of our holistic development is about teaching skills. So when our younger coaches come in and they're learning all sorts of key skills. And of course, our players are having a great time at camp too. There is pre-care, there is half day, full day, and then aftercare too. And more information starting to come out now as we get much closer to the summer, but we start on July 7th. Ending on the Friday of August 15th. So just keep an eye out for that. Consider the Vikings summer camp. We had a question earlier that was, is summer camp included? Summer camp is not included as a Vikings member. Some clubs do consider a summer camp place as part of your membership fees. We don't. It's something that we've considered. We may or may not move that way in future. However, right now we have added our summer training. So there's kind of the seasonal, and the verbiage may be a little bit confusing as we move to year round, but still kind of designate by season. So the evening training with us at San Francisco State is all part of becoming a Viking member. However, the summer camp is a separate additional program, and it's a really big pull for the club because we attract between 60 and 65% of the players that attend summer camp are non-Vikings players. So it's a really good pull for us to be able to show again what the Vikings do and who the Vikings are. So please spread the love of the summer camp to your friends and to your family and to any other teammates that may not be aware of it. But again, this will all be going into schedules and more information coming your way. Ultimately, it's the best part of summer. And that is it. We are 24 minutes in. That's our AGM for this, wrapping up this 24-25 season and looking ahead to 25-26. I thank you all for being members of the Vikings. I encourage you to listen to my voice more often through our town halls and through the work that we're doing and the message that we're trying to tell. Your voice, your input is really, really valuable to us and helping us fulfill our mission. And if something has come up in this call that you think is something that you'd be interested in, if you think maybe supporting the board long term might be something that you're interested in, or just having some expertise that you think we might benefit from, we are all ears. We are a membership driven organization, and you guys mean a lot to us. So thank you very much.
So shall we open it up to any comments, Lee, do you think?
Yep, absolutely. Comments or questions? Well, you guys are free to, and yeah, I'll call an end.
Feel free to chat.
Or you can leave. That's the adjournment. You guys are free to. Thank you for your time.
Do we have a question? When will camp staff info be sent out? I think it's worth mentioning the ability of players to eventually develop into coaches and assistants for the camp league. I think that is something which is very unique to the Vikings.
It really is. Now we have players that have done summer camp and then they take some volunteering time with the club and pick up some experience of leading kids and leading small groups and being responsible in a camp environment like that they then get to come back and they do it for a couple of years. And it's an amazing experience for these youngsters to get that opportunity.
So the timeline, Dave, is that this Wednesday at 5 p.m., our rosters and residency is due to SF Rec and Park. So after Wednesday, so starting on Thursday, we'll be addressing the summer camp and the staffing and the weeks and the availability. So all of the candidates who expressed interest and registered on the form site form will have an answer before the end of the month.
And Krista Blooms said, when will rosters be finalised? Is that reference to the camp or something else?
I think this, I recognize this name Bloom. They're on one of our, I think one of our travel teams, 2013 boys, I think. But the rosters are all due on May 21st at 5 p.m. So they'll be final then.
All right. Dave, thank you and good morning.
Thank you,
Thank
Dave.
you. Good morning. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Lee. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.